Ladies and gentlemen, we have been revived. We had revives. We had revives in our bag.
We got revival blessing.
Wait. You had a Palmon in your back pocket?
I mean, I have a lot of things.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Carlino, Brendan Nussear, we are back for the grand finals of the Oveido League Cup. And Brendan, this has been an incredible season finale, has it not, my dude?
Honestly, it's been so awesome. So many incredible battles throughout the entire day today. Let's take a look back at our top players.
I mean, yes. Let's take a look at our top cut on the bracket. You guys do see our top 8 players were Patrick Connors, Elise Johnson, Jonathan Martin, Riley Wilcox, Christopher Baez, Alexander Phipps, Kerry Diortona, and Andrew Figueres. Now, in the top 8, Patrick Connors defeated Elise Johnson 2-0. And then Riley Wilcox defeated Jonathan Martin 2-1. I actually caught a little bit of that battle, Brendan. Game 3, Jonathan went for a snarl, and he missed.
Oh, man, I was overhearing it. It sounded like it was a really close battle right there.
He missed a snarl, and that actually really did the difference for Riley because his Kyogre did not lose a special attack stage. And then we had Christopher Baez defeat Alexander Phipps. That was a really good battle that we casted. And then Kerry Diortona, I believe Andrew Figueres was just like, here, I'll sign the match slip because I really want to cast.
Yeah, he was so excited to just jump on the hot seat and just tell you all about the battle between Riley Wilcox and Patrick Connors. They went into a clean 2-0 victory for Riley in that favor.
And in all fairness, that was an absolute masterclass from Riley in that battle because Patrick Connors is a notorious NAIC champion. He has won locals. He has won the international. He has top cut regionals. He's been on stream. He does everything perfect. And then when playing against Riley, who he 2-0'd in Swiss, Riley gets revenge when it matters most.
Exactly. That was really incredible to see. I overheard from Riley earlier. He has this feeling that when he's on the stream, he just locks in and he gets all of his reads right. I'm thinking that's probably what happened just now.
I'm thinking you're right because he really played that top 4 matchup. Like, we're watching it as we're getting revived by your Palmot. You did give it a Lepaberry, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And we're watching it, and he's just making correct read after correct read, getting that play rough onto the Koraidon on the switch in, then getting the Behemoth Blade. Now, granted, the Behemoth Blade was always going to knock out the Calyrex after the Terrestrialization was used on anything other than the Calyrex, but he was just making those correct plays every single time, and it was absolutely incredible. And what is this on the table? Wait, why is this on the table? Like, are we trying to show bias here or something?
Maybe a little bit of bias. We've been seeing Kyogre here all day today.
Well,
and then we got one more in the finals for y'all.
We do have Kyogre in the finals because Riley Wilcox will be facing off against Christopher Baez here. And yes, unfortunately, we do have a Kyogre as our plush, but that does not show bias towards who we want to win this tournament.
No, not at all. I'm excited just to see both of these amazing players just being able to compete in the finals here today on our final cup for the season.
And the winner is going to be the finale cup champion for the Oveido Cup. And that is something that you can put on your resume, that I won the season finale here in Oveido at Versus Games.
Exactly. You can tell that to people. You got the writing on the wall. People will remember that. You won the last cup of the season.
And let's take a look back at our trainers' teams. First off, let's look at Christopher Baez here. We do have that Power Herb Meteor Beam. Now, we saw Christopher against Alexander. He got that Meteor Beam play absolutely perfect in Game 1. He got the Meteor Beam off, and then he just was able to click Moongeist Beam and Moonblast pretty freely. And then in Game 2, he adjusts, and he gets that Trick Room off, and Alexander could not capitalize on anything. And also, his Landers coming with that substitute, which was really beneficial to avoid any spores from Alexander's Amoonguss.
That's right. That Landers, that did a lot of work for Christopher in that top 8 match. He just did so much damage to every single one of his Pokemon. He was able to just, safely go for Sludge Bombs into the Calyrex Ice Rider. You got a Pokemon like that where you're 4 times weak to it, and he just does not care.
And we also have to mention that Christopher Baez, he won the last cup here at Versus Games back in January, and 2 of his Pokemon on that winning team are on his team right now, Zamazenta and Chen Pao.
That's awesome to hear. He wants to run it back. He is going to defend his champion title here today against Riley Wilcox. Let's take a look at his team one more time for y'all. See that classic swordfish combination right there.
With the Terra Stellar on that Zacian, giving all of his attacks +1 on the boost for the Stellar Terra on the first time that it is clicked alongside that Intrepid Sword, giving him a +1 attack boost the first time Zacian makes an appearance on the field. However, in the event that Zacian comes off the field, he has Urshifu with coaching as well. That allows for the Zacian to have an ability to keep its +1 on Intrepid Sword, or even go to +2.
Exactly. You know, just keep racking up stats, just keep doing big damage right then and there. Looks like we are...
I believe that our contestant or our trainers are getting set up for game number 1 of this Grand Finals. They are just, I mean, they're very good friends, but also we have to keep in mind, Christopher, I believe, has not lost a stream match ever when he's been on stream.
Ever. Oof.
I believe, I have to go back on that, and I believe Riley has won all but one of his stream matches in his career.
I wouldn't believe that, honestly. I know Riley, he has just been a very talented player. And we're going to start this game 1 right here, right now.
Who is going to be our Oveido Cup champion? And we're going to see it is Zacian and Kyogre, the Swordfish, making an appearance to start this battle. But we see on Christopher's side, it is that Lunala and Rillaboom.
All right, but it turns out that we are not actually going to be taking a little pause right here for a second with this game 1. Seems like there might be some sort of technical difficulties at the moment.
There might be some, a little bit of technical difficulties here. That does happen every now and then.
You know, it's okay. You know, we can keep talking about these great players, you know, that we've known for such a long time.
Yeah, I mean, we've known them, at least for me, I've known them for about 2 years now.
Something like that, you know. I mean, I know you also mentioned that you got back into competitive Pokemon back when Scarlet and Violet started. I'm more so the same.
For me, like, I really went into competitive in Scarlet and Violet, but I dabbled it in Sword and Shield, and, you know, because they did mention it in the Milwaukee stream, because they had to with Joey Pokey-Aim,
yeah,
I was predominantly more of a singles battler, per se. I did a lot more of the competitive singles side on the singles ladder. And then I just started learning more about the VGC side of it during the pandemic. Understood, you know, hey, this is a lot of fun. Now, back then it was also closed team sheet. Now it's open team sheet.
I tell you, when I started VGC, it was actually way far back. So I got into competitive singles, like back in the black and white era. And then, I mean, I saw some YouTubers. They were playing doubles. And I was like, oh, my goodness, that's like what I used to do when I played on the Nintendo GameCube, whatnot. So I start following them more and more. Then you see players like Sage and Park winning with the Pachirisu. It's like, I gotta lock in. I gotta do that. So I didn't get locked in until like I was out of high school, whatnot, being a little more independent. So my first event was back in early Sun and Moon, back with the, I believe it was the first year Sun and Moon at the World Championships for the Anaheim Open tournaments. So,
ooh, and hey, what a way of the circle coming around, because Anaheim is Worlds this year.
Honestly, it's a really cool thing to see it coming full circle. We're going back to Anaheim, and we're going back to San Francisco. That's going to be 10-year anniversary of when Wolf Glick won, but I think we now restart our match, so here we go.
We have game number 1 officially in the books. It is going to be Riley Wilcox versus Christopher Baez, as Riley leads with his Zacian Crown and the Tornadus, but for Christopher, he keeps that Rillaboom and Lunala that we saw in the top 8, which really did a good job for him.
Honestly, it's a really good matchup right there because, you know, with the fake-out pressure right there, you're almost guaranteed a free hit if you can. And then you can have your Lunala just set up with a Meteor Beam into any target that you want, get that +1 attack boost, or special attack boost, and be able to go do more big damage throughout the rest of the battle right there.
You're absolutely right, Brendan, but we also have to keep in mind that Lunala has access to that Power Herb Meteor Beam. So Tornadus is really in a very interesting position here, because if it stays out and Lunala goes for that Meteor Beam, Tornadus will most likely go down unless Meteor Beam misses with that 90% accuracy. But we're going to see Riley Wilcox activate his Terra Orb here on the first turn, and it is going to actually be in the Tornadus. This is a little bit of a change up here. Tornadus did not Terrastalize in Riley's top 4 matchup. In fact, I don't even think it came in that top 4.
No, I don't believe so either.
And we see a Behemoth Blade coming out into the Rillaboom. This is +1. Big damage into the Rillaboom. Bleakwind Storm hits both targets, and Rillaboom goes down on the first turn of the battle.
Rillaboom is down for the count, but we still got a lot to see from this Lunala right here. Charging up its meter beam, will it connect into the Tornadus?
And it's also going to be +1 as well. So we're going to find out if it does hit. It's a 90% accurate move. It does hit.
There we go.
It makes the hit. Will it knock out the Tornadus in one hit? It does not. That is where the Terrastalization comes in handy for Tornadus. It allows it to survive.
Now we see Christopher, he is going to adjust. He brings in his Zamazenta right now. With that Dauntless Shield ability, get the +1 defense. He'll be able to take better hits from that Zacian right up in front of it right there. But it looks like Christopher's thinking, you know what, there's too much speed around here. Let's go change it around a little bit.
That is a possibility, but we have to keep in mind, Riley's Tornadus has access to Taunt, and there's the Taunt into the Lunala! The Taunt coming out into Lunala. The Behemoth Blade coming out into the Lunala. This Shadow Shoot is broken. A critical hit!
Into the Lunala. It is down for the count in this battle.
And the body press coming out doing over 50% damage to the Zacian. But suddenly, this Zacian Tornadus combination is in prime position.
All right, we got Landers coming in onto the field now. What can it do to really help Christopher in this really tough situation right there? It's going to be a lot harder now when you lose your Lunala so quickly, especially with a critical hit. That is such a loss for Christopher in this battle right now.
It is a huge loss for Christopher here, but Christopher now is going to activate his Terra Orb, and he is going to fire it out at his Landorus. Landorus is normally a ground and flying type, but it likes the rain, so it wants to be a water type now, I think.
I think, it's pretty safe to go for water type. At least it gives you some resistance into any potential Behemoth Blades coming from the Zacian. Keep it around a little longer, maybe
we see the Sacred Sword come out, doing well over 50% to the Zamazenta. The body press will come out and knock out the Zacian. So Zacian has gone down, but it has done its job. And the Lander is going for that Earth Power. Tornadus will also go down, but Tailwind is up for Riley.
Tailwind may be up, and we'll have to see if Christopher can keep up the momentum throughout the rest of this battle right now. It's 2-1-2 left. Still got a grassy terrain, a little bit of chip healing, which can be pretty helpful for this Zamazenta right now with the high defense of it.
And it is Urshifu in the back for Riley, and his 4th Pokemon will be Rillaboom. Riley actually opted not to bring Kyogre for Game 1.
Didn't think you needed Kyogre right here. I mean, now you got, with the Zamazenta right here, it's going to make it a lot harder if he wanted to try to do any water attacks, especially from like a water spout with the White Guard on the Zamazenta.
And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. Here comes the Surging Strikes into the Zamazenta. It is going to do critical hit damage 3 times. And what's more important will be if the Zamazenta survives, which it does. The Pokemon gets hit 3 times. And the drum beating going into the Zamazenta. Will it knock it out? No! It doesn't!
5 HP!
But the speed drop and the Earth Power coming out, which allows Landorus to go first. And Urshifu goes down in 1 hit!
But now, Riley only has 1 Pokemon left. We got the Zamazenta with the body press, and we have doing so much damage. Riley's down to his last Pokemon.
And that was one of those risky plays right there, because you could have potentially gone for a close combat potentially, but instead you end up going for that attack into the Zamazenta.
Exactly. No. That Zamazenta, it just lived on such a smidgen of HP, but now we're going to get just a little bit more, Grassy terrain's still up, and try to get as much HP back as you possibly can in this late game scenario. Maybe try to keep as many Pokemon around as you can.
He really is going to try with that. And because Zamazenta got all of that recovery from the grassy terrain, and now the grassy terrain is gone, so Rillaboom is in a really bad position here.
Can't go for any grassy glides can only do drum beating.
But it's actually because of the tailwind. The tailwind was still up.
Tailwind's still up.
And without the grassy terrain, Landorus will not go down to that drum beating. But the Zamazenta with a body press coming out, and Riley Wilcox loses his Rillaboom, and Christopher Baez is one step away from defending his League Cup.
Man, that was an incredible batch right there. Seeing how Riley had the upper hand in such an early game, but he didn't bring the Kyogre, and then Christopher was able to really catch up in the end right there.
He really caught up. That was just incredible. I mean, Riley opted not to bring that Kyogre, as you said, Brendan, and I wonder if that would have helped out with that end game, because by virtue of the Urshifu locking himself into Surging Strike, says something like the close combat there, it probably wanted the close combat just to be able to knock out the Zamazenta. I feel like it would have from under 50% HP. However, it's anybody's guess at this point.
Honestly, it seemed interesting to think because, you know, it was so close to knocking it out. Maybe having, instead of Rillaboom next to you could have the Kyogre, get that additional rain damage boost from the Surging Strikes. Do as much as you can. You know, Zamazenta is such a bulky defensive Pokemon, and the Urshifu Rapid Strike is one of those key components that can really help you out if being able to do neutral damage into it, always getting critical hits, so it doesn't even matter how many defense boosts you have on your Zamazenta because it's always going to do the same amount of damage from those Surging Strikes.
You're absolutely right, Brendan, and we're about to get into Game 2 here. Will Riley Wilcox force a Game 3, a decisive Game 3 in this League Cup, or will Christopher Baez, fresh off his League Cup victory back in January here at Versus Games, become a back-to-back League Cup champion?
Man, I am telling you, I'm so excited to see this battle right now. We got both of our players ready. Game number 2 starting. We got the Tornadus and the
Zacian for Riley's side, and a little bit of a switch up on Christopher's side. He keeps the Lunala, but he changes the grass type. It is an Ogerpon Cornerstone.
As much as it is grass type, that has no grass type attacks on it, I believe. That's the one with the knockoff, if I'm not mistaken.
It does have knockoff. It does not have access to a grass type move here, which will be interesting because right now Zacian is very favorable in this matchup against Ogerpon outside of the Follow Me.
So he's got Follow Me going right now. Wants to take any attacks that might be coming in from that Zacian right now. Just goes for Behemoth Blade. Will probably bring it down to a 1 HP at this rate. Surviving
bring it
only
down
on the Sturdy.
And we're going to see that because Zacian went first, that means Tornadus went for the
And
Bleak Wind Storm. It will hit the Bleak Wind. And a critical hit, too. Critical hit off that Sturdy will knock out the Ogerpon. And the Lunala speed drops. So now Lunala will definitely be the fastest Pokemon in this Trick Room that it is setting up right now. Those dimensions are being twisted.
Those dimensions are twisted, and now Lunala can easily adjust right here and now. So we see a switch into the Landorus. This will be really helpful since the Zacian is Terra Stellar. It can't escape any of its Earth Power weaknesses from that Landorus right now.
It cannot escape those weaknesses because Stellar Terra, as you said, Brendan, it keeps your original typing. It just gives you a boost if you use a move for the first time that is a damaging move.
Right now, and then you have Lunala right here. It still hasn't gone for its Meteor Beam yet. It could do that whenever it wants to and go straight into the Tornadus and knock it out if it really wants to. And we do see a Protect coming from the Zacian right now. Possibly predicting to see what he's going to go for. Just a taunt into the Landorus right now. Make sure no protects or substitutes are going up, but it's okay. Here we have the Meteor Beam charging up.
And it is overflowing with the space power +1 to its special attack. Here comes that Power Herb.
Will it land?
And it lands.
Goodbye, Tornadus.
Tornadus will go down to that +1 Meteor Beam, but now this Lunala is +1 special attack, -1 speed in Trick Room.
It is in a perfect situation right now. No substitute from the Landorus right now. Probably, I imagine Riley probably saw that coming to make sure that nothing happens later on in this match right now.
And what's important to note here is that Rillaboom is now the Pokemon of choice, and it could go for something like a Fake Out here into that Landorus because you are taunted. You cannot protect.
With Landorus being taunted, it can't protect. It could take any damage potentially from that Zacian right there, unless...
And we see Zacian is going for that Terrassalization. There is the Stellar Terra. It is going to get a boost to any move it chooses the first time that it clicks that move. and then it will not get a boost again. Here comes that +1 Moongeist beam, and it is going to go into the Zacian at +1, and it survives. Zacian survives. Here comes a drum beating.
Oh no!
Oh no!
He knocked out.
Oh no! He accidentally knocked his own teammate out.
Trying to adjust for the trick room, but he did too much damage to his Zacian right there.
Now, see, that was a strategy that Riley told me about that he had in his back pocket, but because the Moongeist beam did so much damage, it wouldn't work.
No, not this time. And we just see a low raw earth power going into that Rillaboom right there. All Christopher Riley has left is his Urshifu and his Rillaboom. We'll see how we can go. But I think it's just about over at this point.
And Christopher Bias officially retains his title here at Versus Games, winning the League Cup 2-0.
That was an amazing battle between both trainers today. I know they worked very hard all day today, winning all those amazing battles that they've had.
And you heard the scattering of applause from the gallery. They are excited for Christopher winning the title once again and defending it here at the season finale.
It was such an amazing match. I'm so proud to see Christopher being able to adjust right there. And I think right now, we gotta talk to him. We've gotta figure out how we did. So let's go bring him over here and see.
Yeah, we gotta get our winner over here because that is something that we have to do.
Yeah. All right. Riley, get over. Christopher, get over here quickly. We got a champion.
Yeah, we do have a champion. Let's join our winner. Let's bring our winner in right now, Christopher Bias. Well, congratulations, Christopher. You are the Versus Games League Cup champion for the second consecutive tournament in a row. How does it feel?
It feels good. I will say I think it's been incredibly lucky that there's so many Kyogres today. Was not expecting that at all. Was expecting like Koraidons.
You were expecting the 2 bikes today, it appears?
Yep. I thought, since we're the Sunshine State, I thought everyone was gonna love Koraidon. Not the rain. Everyone's been complaining about the rain, but
yeah, it appears as though this Pokemon was it was okay, but as we all know, this is the better rain setter right here.
Oh, absolutely.
This is the better rain setter right here, the Pelican. But Christopher, I do have to ask you, when you were building your team for this cup, what was going through your process, and did you at least consider your team that won the January Cup? Because if you remember, that January Cup had a Zamazenta and a Chen Pao on it.
Yeah, so a bit of the team building process was, I wanted to play CSR Zamazenta, but CSR was getting destroyed by opposing Zamazentas with Y guards, so I was like, oh, we'll just go Lunala for the single target ghost stab that Zamazenta kind of wants. And then I just started playing from there. The team was kind of built last minute, but the idea for the team is, I call them all Cinder Block Task Force. Every team is designed specifically to handle Kyogre. I will not lose to that fraud mob.
Well, you heard it here first that that Christopher does not want to lose to a Kyogre, so to speak. Now, when you were building this team, Ogerpon Cornerstone, I am curious, you do not have a grass type move on it. You opted for Ivy Cudgel and Knockoff as your damaging moves. Take us through that mentality. Why, for somebody who wanted to stop Kyogre, did you not have another grass type move on a team with a grassy terrain and Rillaboom?
Well, the idea behind it was Ivy Coach is already doing about 50% to a Kyogre, even if you Terra Grass or Terra Water, so it's neutralizing its damage. But Knockoff came to get, was the final move that I decided to do was for, in theory, to handle Miraidon on Miraidon Lunala teams, that if it Volt switched out into Ursaluna, I can knock off the Flame Orb, and if they stay in, I can knock off Specs, allowing Zamazenta to take very little damage, especially with terrain control with Rillaboom. So an E-Drip was doing 30% to Zamazenta, and I could just freely body press, heavy slam, whatever it is that needs to be done. But Knockoff has not unfortunately came into play except for one specific game, and that was into Carry, because he is running Life Orb Urshifu, and by getting rid of the Life Orb, it allowed Rillaboom to live close combat comfortably, as well as Zamazenta and other partner pieces from dying from like a Surging Strike.
Now, you did mention Carradiratona. I do know that you have a friendship with him. You have built with him. How did it feel to defeat him in Top Cut once again and work your way to the championship after defeating somebody of his stature?
Carrie's an amazing player. He's super sweet. He's super awesome. I love playing against him because we just play like the battles between him. It just feels more than just playing Pokemon. Like we're in each other's heads trying to read what we're trying to do. It really isn't just like a turn-by-turn basis. So it's always like hard and uncomfortable playing against him, but always very fun. He played it really well. I unfortunately had to play all his team building partners. He was team building with Andrew Figueres as well as Alex Phillips, and I had just gone back to back with all of that. So
now you are the winner of this League Cup. You have done it back to back. In your own words, how does it feel knowing that you started 2025 winning a cup here? You are ending the 2025 season winning a cup here. How does that feel for you? Because I believe you are going to NAIC, correct?
yes.
How does that feel for you with that momentum going into NAIC?
It feels really good. I won't lie. I came here trying to maybe defend the title, but I was unsure with the team because I did build it like 2 days ago. I was like, I have no idea. But with the practice today, it makes me feel comfortable with what I want as an idea to NAIC. But I do not think I will be bringing this team, or at least like similar to this. I definitely think some of the pieces are required if I want to keep playing Zamazenta moving forward, but some things have to be looked into, especially like Lunala changes, like no Protect, no Calm Mind, it's just raw damage.
I mean, the raw damage definitely helped you out because you did get the Meteor Beams off, and it did help to hit the Meteor Beams.
Oh yeah.
Did it miss it all today?
Funny fact, I have landed every single Meteor Beam today. It has not missed once. However, I am 3, 4, 6 icicle crashes.
Oh.
I just landed one today against the carry set, and that was the third one out of all. Oh, sorry, 3 for 7. 3 for 7. That's what it is.
Well, I mean, that's what matters the most. But again, you are our League Cup champion, Christopher Baez. Congratulations once again, young man, and I look forward to seeing your performance at NAIC.
All right. Thank you, Talent. You're going to NAIC too, right?
I am not.
Oh.
I am not going to NAIC. My season more or less is over.
Okay. Well, the rest of the Florida gang will definitely, represent us, our state.
I mean, we have the best scene. We have the best scene. I mean, tell me when I'm telling a lie that we have the best.
I don't know, man. I think the DC area is pretty strong.
The DC can lace our boots. But Christopher, thank you so much again, young man, and I look forward to seeing your performance at NAIC. Everybody, once again, your champion, Christopher Baez.
Yeah.
Hey, Brandon, come on. You got it.
Oh, that's awesome. I got a fight pack now.
Ever see your second? Yeah, you better bring it to every event. Yeah. It's not illegal. Yeah, no. Dude, you keep winning.
All right. Well, welcome back, Brendan.
That was fun for a few minutes. I was in the realm of just taking away the Kyogre for you.
Just taking away the Kyogre. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, we have to show congratulations out to Christopher Baez. He has won the League Cup here at Versus Games for the second consecutive time.
He is such an amazing player. It's amazing to see that he can just bring it back to back like that. They tell me that he's rare to come to tournaments like that, but when he does, he is prepped. He is ready to just tear through this competition.
He has put in incredible work. And the fact that he said that he was potentially going to run something like this at NAIC in 3 weeks. Now, that could be a little bit of a scouting report, but at the same time, Christopher has a wonderful amount of team building partners, such as Patrick Connors, Carradiratona, Jonathan Martin, Andrew Figueres, Alexander Phipps, and his runner-up, his opponent in finals, Riley Wilcox.
They all did such amazing performances here today. It's amazing to see even then, the same team or very similar team just appeared so many times here today. Just Kyogre was just so dominant today.
Kyogre was very dominant today, and I do want to shout out our lone Calyrex Shadow Rider that made top cut today in Elise Johnson. She did make top cut. She played against Patrick Connors, showcasing once again why South Florida has some of the best VGC players, as well as the Orlando area and the Jacksonville area. But more importantly, it showcases that Shadow Rider still has a place in this metagame.
Shadow Rider does have a place in this meta game, but you know what? There are so many different Pokemon around with so much potential. You know what? You just can't win them all sometimes, but you know what? Elise did a very good job here today.
They really did a good job here today. All of our players did incredible, and honestly, this was a lot of fun, Brendan. It was nice to cast with you.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. This is my first time with you. My second time casting back at, a few weeks ago. I did casting for just a little locals, but no, I've been enjoying this a lot more than competing for a while.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun because you get to get into that action, and it allows you to see more than you would normally as a player. Like, it's one thing to get those reads. We've all been there before, where we get those reads, we get those incredible moments, and just our adrenaline is pumping. And then it can all come crashing down in a halt, but it's how you adjust and how you adhere to the adversity that ultimately determines a champion, like we had today in Christopher Baez.
Exactly. You know, there's so many different things about just playing Pokemon competitively, so many different elements, and just being able to hone in every single one of those to prove that you are the best. That's just such an amazing thing to be able to do as a player.
Exactly, Brendan. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we do want to thank you all for supporting us here at Florida VGC. This was our 10-year anniversary officially. It will be 10 years of Florida VGC in September with the new season. So for the season that will end with Worlds in 2026 in San Francisco, Florida VGC will officially be 10 years old. That is incredible, isn't it, Brendan?
It is so amazing. You know, we have such a long-lasting community that's been around together for so many years. I am just so proud of everyone that comes together. Even if you're not competing, just supporting in just any little way that you can. That's what just makes it such a great community.
It really does make it a great community. We've had incredible players come out to every single one of our events. We've even had players come from other states to play in our locals. Usually it's up in the Panhandle area, but it's still, they are respecting our game enough that they want to compete against us.
They know we have such a high power level in Florida that they come from Georgia, Alabama maybe, and they're just thinking, I want a piece of that. I want to see what it's really like to play some of the best players in the country, or even in the world for that matter.
You are absolutely right there, Brendan. We also want to say that this will be the last event for Florida VGC for this season. We will be back in September after the World Championships, and we just want to thank everybody. We want to thank Versus Games for welcoming us in. We want to thank places such as Rockledge. We want to thank places such as Nerdy Needs in Brandon. We want to thank every station that our casting crew has been able to come out and just bring you guys incredible local battles for the state of Florida in this season. We want to thank our staff. We want to thank our production crew, especially our stream lead, TJ DiGiacomo, who is normally, for any person who wants to know behind the scenes, he is the video game subject rules expert in the credits, if you actually watch the credits like I do.
Yeah.
But behind every North American stream, he is the man behind the keyboard. He is the man, the myth, the legend. Without him, there is no Florida VGC. There is no Florida VGC casting. And to be honest, there's no opportunities for people like you, me, guys like Patrick Connors, Christopher Baez, Riley Wilcox. There's really nothing for us.
Exactly. You know, he's the bread and butter of this community. He brings us all together, and it's just, I'm so thankful for TJ. I'm thankful for everybody who just comes in and just we're all just here together because we all just love to play the Pokemon games.
We really do. And ladies and gentlemen, to sign off for this season, we have a special video for you all. We thank you once again. We love you all. We look forward to seeing everybody who goes to NAIC and the World Championships, and we will see you in the 2026 season. Now, please enjoy this following video.